Hello, welcome to this live stream thing with the Q&A for what was next season 46. Matt will be joining us shortly, but he has to install a plugin. I'm sorry it's not going as planned, but that's because the software I was doing this wasn't working, so I've got to do it in Hangouts, and we're not exactly sure how to use this, but hopefully it's all fine now, and you can ask us questions, and it should work properly. So go ahead, ask all the questions. So would the 40th anniversary music video exist? I doubt it, because that's not what they were doing at that point. They would have had a whole probably broadcast season like you got with the 50th instead of just a small music video like we did actually with the 40th anniversary. So any questions about Doctor Who Vengeance, Doctor Who season 46, anything like that, and we can answer that as long as it isn't too spoilery, and then I just won't answer. Will there be a lady Doctor in this timeline? I don't know. Maybe in the future. Will the 13th Doctor be a woman? Maybe. I don't know. Well, I do know, but I'm not going to give that away now, am I? Hi, just to let you know, Devious will be on the 25th of June 2018. Thank you, I guess. Good now. Any more questions? Doctor Who Vengeance, Doctor Who season 46 are the main sort of discussion points at the moment. Do you have any plans for the Daleks? We do have plans for an upcoming Dalek story, yes, in season 47. But I'll leave it there. Are the BBC as interfering as they are on the modern series? Now, the BBC would mostly just leave sort of Doctor alone, and the interfering ones would really be CBS and sort of them. It would be sort of equal, but I think CBS would be seen more as the interfering ones, as they're sort of the strange Americans coming in and changing the BBC show. Why didn't you use Axilon or Network in the early seasons? I just didn't. There's not really any explanation. I just used different things. Who is the villain in Doctor Who Vengeance? I'm not going to give that away. Just watch it when it does come out, probably in the next month or so. I'd like to get it out within this month, because you didn't get anything in February. You got stuff in January, March, April, May, but nothing in February. So I'll get you to June. That'd be the best I can do. Will the Cybermen be used at all in the future? Yes, they will. Man, the season 46 finale was bonkers. Great work once again. Thank you very much. Yes, season 46 finale was quite eventful, and really sort of caps off the Joseph era, I think, and everything sort of tied together. So very much is, what if the Joseph era didn't happen? Very much. Why did you bring back Tegan for this season? I explained it a bit, because we knew we wanted a returning companion in there. We very much, as well as I think Gary Wilson and Robert Shin would have liked, the free companion dynamic in 45. So Tegan was the obvious choice, removing all the ones you can't have. Will there be a new producer once Passengers leaves in time? I know Gary Russell and Robert Shimon do continue on for season 47. When it comes to stories based on existing material, how do you figure out what one to use and when to use them? We decide what could have feasibly happened in the timeline, what the writers were doing at that time, in our timeline and that timeline, seeing if the story fits the era, anything like that. When will you bring the Sontarans back? I don't know. Will there be a multi-Doctor Who story sometime in the future? Maybe, probably. I don't know yet. Will we ever see your face in a future video? I have had my face in other stuff, just not in the What If Doctor Wasn't Axed videos, because there's no point, because it's very much sort of documentary style. Can Kenneth Bragg, I think you mean, I don't know, be the next Doctor? I can confirm that he is not the next Doctor. I'm just going to say that now. When will the movie be? Well, as soon as I can finish it. I am writing the script at the moment, the script of what I'm saying. I don't actually write the full script. And I'm about 1,058 words into that, of usually between 2,500 and 3,500 scripts, depending on how much I have to say about it. But I have got the story all planned out and stuff, so it just depends when I finish that, and then editing can take about a week. What would the Daleks look like in the 90s, 2000s? Sort of, I think sort of the look I gave you in sort of Jubilee is sort of the look they've got at the moment. In the 90s, I'm not exactly sure. Will they change the 10, 90-minute episode structure? Yes, they will. Perhaps another couple of years yet, but that will change. So there's Leftover Season 5 coming. No, there was not a Leftover Season 5, but there is... they announced that there's going to be a Leftover movie released due to the popularity of them in Mad World, and that's why there's a Leftover movie. Will there be another movie in your timeline? Yes, there's Doctor Who Vengeance, which I already spoke about. Will the Weeping Angels return? Maybe, perhaps. I might have plans for that. Might not. Depends. Would Toby Jones be the next Doctor? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. Would the UK Gold 40th anniversary stuff still exist? Well, I think stuff of that similarity would exist, but I expect it would probably be more just BBC Two, because of the fact that obviously Doctor Who's much bigger stuff then, so they would probably put it there. Are there possibilities of Panopticon get in a future movie? Not. That isn't actually something I've thought about yet, but I don't think so. But there might be Doctor Who movies which very much are just Panopticon with the Doctor in it, perhaps. Will there be rumours of female Doctor? I'm sure there'll be rumours of a female Doctor. There have been rumours of a female Doctor for years. Will the Master be played by Charles Dance? I don't know. Perhaps I haven't thought about it. Is John Debney leaving? Yes, John Debney is leaving. That's because they wanted a new sort of sound for the next era. Nearly said who the next Doctor was there. I probably shouldn't. But that's why. And a new Doctor is taking over. A new composer as well as Doctor. With the 50th anniversary documentary still exists, I assume you're speaking about an adventure in space and time. Maybe, I don't know. It might not. Yeah. Will Alan Davis play the Doctor? No. Sorry. Will the movie be broadcast on the BBC alongside cinemas? Not at the same time. It will be probably a couple of months later. It would be broadcast on the BBC in a special event, sort of how they broadcast movies anyway. But it would not be broadcast to the BBC at the same time. So David Arnold is the next composer. Will John Hurt play the Doctor? No. Do you know? Yes, I do know who will play the next Doctor in my timeline. I've got it all planned out. I've even made a DWM cover for them, but that would be secret until the end of the next video, as always. And it would have been secret as well for the actual people at the time, because they would not know who the next Doctor is until being in that movie theatre, in that cinema, and seeing the regeneration, and that's how the Doctor is. However, it probably would have been spoiled for a lot of people if they hadn't seen the film straight away, because I'm sure it would have been all over the internet, which slightly ruined it. Will the 8th, 10th, 11th, and 12th Doctors appear in the 50th? Maybe, possibly. I don't know. Could Freddie Mercury play the Master season 27 to 30? No, because I've already said it's Anthony Ainley. Made that pretty clear. Will Jane Hurt be in your universe? No. Will Michelle Gomez appear in an episode? Maybe. She might play a character in an episode. Will Anthony Head's return announced in the press, or was generally surprised for fans? It would have been announced as a normal press release that Anthony Head would be returning for one episode to appear in flashbacks, all that, because they would have known a lot about plots of each episode, just like we do before they come out. You know, DWM would have previewed it, they would have had a cover, they would have all this, there would have been synopsis released, all that sort of stuff. Will there be a film explaining how the Doctor left Gallifrey in the future? I don't think so. There's a segment of Doctor Who Revelation, if you remember, where the Doctor sort of goes back where he goes to when he left. There's that bit. Will we be using the David Donald Big Finish theme for season 47 titles? No, because of the reason that that's not what they would be going for at the time. Doctor Who's in a very different place, and that wouldn't be the feel they're going on. Are there plans for CBC series like SJ8? Not at the moment. There's no plans for any sort of CBBC series at the moment. There are plans for future spin-offs in the works, but none of them have been properly sort of consolidated yet. Will the 13th Doctor divide the fan base? I don't think so. It's not something especially dividing. I suppose it would have been more of a general audience might go, oh, I like that person, but I don't know if they're exactly what we imagine. And then people just think, well, that is what we imagine as a Doctor. Sort of like what we've got in the past. But I think every Doctor sort of brings that divisiveness there. Will be an anniversary of your timeline? Yes. What inspired you to make the series? I have gone into that before. It was a comment left on a video that gave me the idea, and then I replied to that and we got a discussion going, that sort of stuff, and all this theorized, and I said, I'll make something about this, and they said, yeah, sure. And then I did. Never heard from that person again. I've got no idea who they are. Can't even remember the name. They might be one of my most loyal viewers for all I know. I don't know. Would Destiny of the Doctor's audio series still exist? I don't know, maybe. I don't really know of all the expanded universe. So there would have been an expanded universe. I don't think there would have been a big finish. There wouldn't have been a need for it at that time. But there will probably be novels being released, all that sort of stuff, audios maybe, sort of the BBC audiobooks. But that's not what I really go. I only go into the main sort of TV series, and they might do one of those documentaries on them, like I did with Doctor in America, perhaps in the future. Would Richard E. Grant actually become Doctor? Well, in this universe, I don't know. Perhaps. I'm not the person to ask. Could Eddie Murphy or Nathan from Five play Captain Jack? Captain Jack's not in this. I've already said that. There's no Captain Jack in this. But John Barrowman might turn up. If you were just a regular viewer, which episode of the season would be your favourite and why? That's an interesting one. Because I think season 46 is one of the strongest seasons they've had in a while. That's odd. I would quite like Inquisition just because of sort of the novelty of it. I wouldn't say that would be my favourite. The Facade would be a nice, really good one, but Delayed Indefinitely would also be quite good. Then I think I quite like Mad World as well. Mad World would certainly be a treat. But Brave New Town, I can't really answer that because I think all of them are really strong. How did the 7th Doctor die? Henry comes to the influence limit to Traxi, puts poison in the Doctor's to try and kill him. That sort of turdo thing you're getting on again, sort of echoed back with Henry. That's sort of the sort of prototype they put him in. What if Doctor was in the Marvel universe? I'm not doing that. No. Would Nicholas Briggs end up becoming the voice of the Daleks in your show? Yes. Check the end credits on the Extra channel, and yes, he is the voice of the Daleks. He's also a staff writer on the show as well, and has written a few episodes. Would Sutek return in? Oh, I don't know, my mic's glitching. Sorry if it is. I'd try and fix that. I'm using Hangouts and I don't really know how to use it. So sorry if that's the case. Would Sutek return in any future episodes? I don't know. I haven't planned for any stuff. Would Eric Jacobi return as a rogue when he meets Timothy Dalton's timeline? Maybe. I don't know. Will there be a Twice Upon a Time type story in Doctor Who? No. Just no. Any other questions? Just continue going. Preferably about season 46 and Doctor Who Vengeance, but it can be about other stuff. Just preferably about that, because that is what this stream is about. Do you think Doctor Mysterio should get his own spin-off series? No. Someone in the comments bet me 1 billion there wouldn't be any female doctors in this timeline. If they pay me, then would I be rich? I don't know. Not gonna answer that. I'll keep zip for the moment. How did the Ninth Doctor die? He's brutally murdered. Look, after the third movie, we finally reached 2010, only 8 seasons to go. Yeah. There you go. 8 seasons. Will Doctor Who address season 6B? I doubt it. Just because it never did in our timeline. I don't think something the official show would address, but spin-off media, by all means, probably would do it. What was the 8th Doctor's first words? I'm not sure. I have written them down before. It's in the whole opening section, I thought before, but off the top of my head, I can't remember. When would the movie be released in this universe? Which one? Do you want all of them? I think, well, it's 23rd of November and the 25th of November in different countries was the first movie. Revelation, I think it's the something for February, like the 12th or the 16th, 14th, something like that. And then Vengeance is the 12th of February, 2010. Revelation being 2007 and the movie being 2003. How long are you planning to make the series? I'm planning to make it, as I've said before, up until I reach the present day, and then I'll continue making it as we reach the actual time it would have been. And then right when I get to the present day, I'll make a video comparing what Doctor's like in that timeline at the moment to what Doctor's like in our timeline, seeing the difference. Yes, Katie, what is it? The 8th Doctor's first words. Thank you very much.
Hello, I am finally here.
Matt is finally here.
I have
Thank
to download
you.
Google Chrome for this. Or download.
That's very good. Now I have someone to bounce off instead of just talking nonsense on my own.
I am not a bouncy castle, then. You should know this by now.
Well, will there be a 50th anniversary special? Yes, there will be.
It would be insane not to.
What will you do once you get season 55? Well, when I get to the present day, I will, as I've just said, I will make a video showing the difference between now and, well, this timeline and our actual timeline and comparing them, as I've just said.
See who was a better Ninth Doctor. I think, well, in my opinion, that one of them certainly definitely wins by a landslide. Not saying the other's bad, but I'm only saying.
His favourite Doctor's Paul McGann anyway, so that's why.
Yeah, but
Robert Shearman is the best script editor. Don't kill me, Matt. Matt thinks Robert Shearman's God, so he's not going to kill you. Will the Valeyard appear in a future? Will the Valeyard appear in a future story?
You have to wait and find out.
Yeah. Do you get criticised for your channel? I do get some criticism, yes. from people who aren't happy with the way the series is going, or people thinking it's basically just glorified fan fiction, but it's following an alternate timeline, which wasn't actually the original intention of the series, but that's what it's evolved into. Who was your favorite fictional incarnation? I get this one a lot, pretty much every stream I do. Always changing. I'm not exactly sure. Griffiths obviously holds a place in my heart because it was the first sort of original one that we did.
Well, that you did.
Well, that I did, yes. Matt come
then,
along to
even then, Griffiths does sound like he would have been great, you know.
Clash and Joseph would have been up there.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm
not saying that just because I gave him the idea.
I think Anthony Head would be really good. I just think he'd be wasted.
Yeah, I think he'd be one of the better actors
would be.
to play the Doctor.
Would there be a situation like with Eccleston where past Doctor doesn't want to return to the show anymore? I don't think so, because I don't think any of the actors are like that in this universe. Just they weren't cast like that, and I think Chris Eccleston is a very special case. But there might be the case of with Richard Griffiths, he was dead by the time of the 50th anniversary, so he wouldn't be in that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
What is the worst series of all time in IYO? What does IYO mean?
In your opinion?
In your opinion, in the What If Match universe or in this actual universe?
Depends if it's both or not.
Well, I think the worst actual series. I don't know.
I mean, within the confines of season 27 to season 46, in my opinion, it would be season 35.
Season 35, yeah. It'd probably be one of the Sandeman.
It's the least good. Well, yeah, season 35 is the first Sandeman one.
When do you think the trailer teaser for series 11 will come out? I think is it the 18th of June? People are saying.
Well, I think it will be sometime this month, definitely. Because it's June now, and that's scary.
Or was it the 18th of 18th of June or 18th of July? I don't know.
Probably June.
I think you should make the next incarnation Rowan Atkinson. No.
Well, the next incarnation of the monk, maybe. Haha.
Well, RTD and Serum will be producing a timeline. No, because they've already been script editors and they've left the show already. They did that in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
So, no.
Well, I did it in the 2000s, really, because Stephen Moffat's like, no, I'm coming back. Staff writer.
Yeah, well,
I feel like he was only roped in to do that because we need a staff writer. Ooh.
Have you considered remaking the season 27 to 40 videos after completing the series with Matt's help? No, but what I am considering doing, this is something I thought of a couple of days ago, is when I'm completely done, I'm going to write a book detailing the entire timeline from season 27 to the present day, with much more detail in each season and pitch and everything, which there will be bits changed, so it would be sort of a separate sort of way where stuff I would change if I didn't now and all that sort of stuff. Like I would give season 27 the Popper McCoy sort of look instead of the Griffiths sort of logo on there. The Griffiths logo start with Griffiths, stuff like that would change.
The odd story might change and the odd writer might change.
No, there might be. No, I think all the stories would stay the same.
Okay,
but the titles might change slightly by adding like "the" into the title
maybe
or something like that.
Writer and probably different directors, especially with Nightshade, certainly.
Be quiet. I'm trying to catch up on these. Have you? If Paul was made in Doctor Who magazine, which of your episodes do you think would rank the highest? Matt, answer this one because I don't know the answer to.
If there was a poll in
Doctor Who magazine, which would rank the highest of sort of the What If Doctor Was an Accident episodes?
Well, if we're excluding all the like pre-season 27 stuff, like Genesis of the Daleks and Caves of Androzani.
Yes, we are excluding that.
Probably like Midnight Upon Us. Probably. I mean, I don't know. It's not like Chimes of Midnight is like ranked one of the best Doctor Who stories anyway. So Midnight Upon Us would probably be high up there.
Which is the most terrifying villain in this universe? I'm not sure. I think Jeffrey Belden's mask would have been very popular and sort of very creepy.
Yeah,
Um,
certainly.
Early Jacoby Rogue, I think, would have been the same sort of feel, but the Rogue evolves over time, as now the Rogue is very different to the Rogue when we first met him.
I feel like the
Well,
Rogue is like the ideal master you'd want in the 90s, but then the Bailden's master would be like flat out scary, horrifying, like that one scene in Revelation.
why does Matt hate the return of Naimon? Come on.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Say that to yourself. Russell T Davies in season 34 wrote a story called The Return of Naimon, as in a sequel to The Horns of Naimon, which no one asked for, right? Okay, The Vengeance of the Naimon's different, okay? But no one would have asked for the Horns of Naimon sequel. And plus, it's written in a sort of way that it's like the Naimon is not a species, but like Naimon's an individual. That's the way it was phrased in the video. So that's more Ben's fault. But like Return of Naimon, it's just a silly title as well. But it's like it's just a joke.
Who is the worst? Okay, who is the worst companion in your opinion? I'm gonna go with What If Doctor was an axe. I'm gonna go with that because, well, in actuality, it's Clara Oswald in What If Doctor was an axe. We've got Katie Henrik, Bernice, Grace, Sammy, Sandra, Angela, Liz. Which one's the worst? I think Sammy.
Yeah. Henrik, I feel like, would be ranked low, not because he had a poor character, but because the writers didn't do much for him. And he's the longest lasting.
He's pretty much just a strong man.
His fan base. He would have his fan base.
I think Henrik's just the comic relief and strong man.
He's basically like Nardole, but he has a lot less fans.
I think he's like a mix between Nardole and Ian.
Actually, yeah, a mix between Nardole and Ian, but he has a lot less fans, and he stayed for way too long.
Who will be the next master? We have got some ideas about this, but I'm not going to let that out. Would Mark Gatiss be producer in your timeline? No. Sammy. Yeah. What's the scariest Doctor Who opinion in your opinion? What's the scariest Doctor Who story in your opinion? Matt?
Well, it really depends what you think about. If you think about what would be the scariest to actually live in, or what's the actual scariest one to watch. Now, everyone thinks that like Blink and Silence in the Library, all of that, those would be like scariest. And I'm thinking about within this timeline, but I feel like the scariest and most real would be Mad World.
Yeah, Mad World would have been, because it's turned left, but intensified to the maximum.
And because it's by Robert Sherman.
And also it's 90 minutes long, so there's a lot more room to explore that dark and scary world. And they probably would have gone more into detail about the ladybug ants and that sort of stuff. Would the 13th Doctor be rumoured to be female? Probably. Would you ever consider making an incarnation female? I would certainly consider it. Will the 13th Doctor actually be female? Well,
you'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah. Galaxy 4 is the most terrifying. Well,
from what I've seen of like the reconstruction on the Aztec DVD,
would any American actors play monsters during the time Paramount worked on the show? American actors are all over the place during the Paramount and CBS years.
Like
look at
the in Jubilee.
Yeah, but he's not really. Well, he's not playing a villain. He's sort of just playing. He's voicing an alien.
Yeah. All I'm going to be saying is stay tuned for more of that sort of.
Plan B is the most terrifying in the What If Doctor Axe universe.
Oh, yeah, I'm so scared. It's so poorly written. That scares me.
Well, if you want to hear about mining on a boring alien planet with boring characters by a really rubbish writer, there you go.
I mean,
they've got to be a weak link in every season.
Yeah. Well, season 46, like
Well, the weak link is probably the Eternity Trap or the Fight for Survival. Those are the weak links, but they're still probably quite good compared to some of the other stuff.
yeah. If you can
Leftover ended after Lyd Slazen's death. Leftover ended in 2005. They're returning for a movie in 2010, a one-off movie due to the popularity of Mad World. But that's it. So, after Lyd Sladen dies a few months after that movie's released. So, yeah, it's not going to affect it. What season is Mad World in? Season 46, the one we've just had.
yes.
It's a joke. Where's your sense of humor? I know it's a joke.
Where's your sense of humor? Sorry, like that bit, like where's your sense of humor? That reminds me.
Just out of curiosity, will we ever be able to read full scripts of your episodes online? Because that would be cool. Well, you can read one of them at the moment. The Empty Child script of this universe is available on my blog, which there's a link to on my channel, just the main page. And there are a few in development at the moment from other people who are writing for me. So if you want to do it, by all means, just contact me at DaDoctorWhoFan@gmail.com. And a few other people are working on other episodes as well. And I'm working on a couple here and there. It depends what I can be bothered to actually do. But yeah, look on the blog and you can read the full script for the Empty Child in this universe with all the, there's loads of changes, pretty much everything's different. Well, the same story, but there's a lot different as well. Different characters, different dialogue, different, well, the Doctors are different characters, sort of, a different incarnation, so he's saying other stuff. There's a lot of references in there. Yeah, do you like the Ninth Doctor in this universe? Yeah, Chris Rex, one of my favourite Doctors. Is, I don't know where I'd rank. Probably, if not in the top 5, then 6 or 7. But
Ben,
it's just,
you might hate me for taking this at face value, but I rank Chris Eccleston's Doctor around the middle, mainly because I like so many other Doctors, and Chris Eccleston.
I was going to say exactly the same.
Because, like, I'd rank him about 7th. That sounds bad, but I like all of the classic Doctors, apart from Peter Davison.
Exactly the same.
And with John Pertwee, I never really... It's not that I don't like him. It's that I never really connected with him as much.
Does Missy or does not or does exist in this universe? I don't think Missy, as we know her, exists. The Master exists, of course, but I don't think so.
Even then, I don't know if we could get a female incarnation of the Master in our universe. I don't think
she'd be called Missy.
Missy, no. That's very Moffat.
Yes. When can we expect Doctor Who Vengeance to be released? Probably either at the end of this month or at the start of the next month.
You always say that.
And usually it's all right. Will Hugh Grant being your timeline? No, he's not going to be the Doctor in the timeline.
He already played a politician person from the past. Like Prime Minister from 1960s, right?
That completely fell flat.
So would Mark Hamill be a good villain in your universe?
I don't think they would cast Mark Hamill.
They might.
I just don't think they will cast Mark Hamill. I don't think some do.
I don't know if it'll be a Doctor Who thing, but I could see it in Panopticon possibly.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's the voice or something.
Yeah, as a voice, definitely. He probably, that's more likely as a voice.
How many new series monsters have put in the What Doctor Next timeline? How many we've got?
Weeping Angels
now. Weeping Angel Zood.
Vashnarada.
Is that about it?
The Slovene, actually.
The Slovene in Leftover Series 2, is it?
Leftover Series 2.
Yeah, I think it's Series 2. Would some fans hate the casting of the 13th Doctor? I think so. I think there's fans which hate the casting of any Doctor.
Yeah. Oh, that one's too old. Oh, that one's too young. Oh, that one's too not a man.
What would be the biggest point of discussion slash fan outrage in your universe? And let's go with that's already happened. So I think the Paramount deal would have outraged a lot of people. I think some people would not have liked it. I think the whole Red Gallifrey arc would have outraged people.
I think Doctor Who continuing and being different would have outraged people.
Yep.
I mean, that's what it does anyway. So
I think some of Chris Sandeman's would have outraged people.
some of them, only some.
Yeah.
Gary Russell just outrages people in general whenever he writes something. To be honest,
I think Blood and Joseph here would have been divisive for some people because some people wouldn't have liked how
Black
some
Doctor.
of it's gone.
I mean, some people wouldn't have liked how the Doctor's black in general.
But I think a lot of people would have liked. I think Blood and Joseph would have been much more popular than the Anthony Head era, just because it's more what people consider as Doctor Who. But I do think a lot of fans would have really liked Leftover being in Mad World, but I think a lot of fans would have hated it because they're like, no, just leave it. You gave Leftover a good send off and return to Earth. There's no need to bring them back.
I mean, the thing is, there needs to be a sort of plot device in order to like continue the plot and like have Lizzie go to Gallifrey somehow.
And Unit would not exist. Unit would not exist because
in that story.
Because if the Shulk and the Silurians invaded, the first one they're getting rid of is Unit.
Yeah. And how Leftover just can't die somehow. Then
if Kate Stewart were to turn up in universe, would it be Gemma Redgrave? Yeah, Gemma Redgrave is as Kate Stewart in some stories. Look at the end credits. She's there, just not a main part. Would Robert Harley play the Doctor Universe? No. Would they be Big Finish or not? No, they wouldn't, because of the fact I love Big Finish, loads of Big Finish. But there would have been no need for it. Big Finish came back, it was the Wilderness Years, and there was some sort of point to get that. But yeah, there's no point there. So it just wouldn't have been Kate Stewart there.
Burn high.
Yeah.
Jolly Roger Bay.
Yes.
I never knew that Mario 64 levels could be sentient, but here we go.
I don't get that at all. I have no idea what you're going on. Anyway, will Tom Hiddleston play the next Doctor? No.
He's too busy doing Thor, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
and I don't think they would cast him, and I think it would be probably too much for the BBC.
To be honest, I'd agree on that.
Any more questions? Continue going in about season 46, about Doctor Who Vengeance. Rank all the Doctors and what Doctor next timeline.
Exclusively those Doctors, or just within?
Let's just do the 27 to 46 because.
So that includes McCoy.
Let's do 28 to 46.
Darn it. But I mean, I know who'd be at my bottom.
Who?
Grant. Rich D. Grant.
Ooh.
I mean, I basically canonized his own character, right?
I think I'd have to agree, just because he's the one that doesn't stand out the most.
Because he's pretty much a rehash of 5, and then just David Tennant's Doctor, but better.
And he only had 2 proper seasons, because he has 2 seasons and then 3 stories.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. And one of the seasons, he's got the tail end of McGann's in there.
Yeah.
And the second, I think season 39 would have been quite good, apart from, of course, that story.
That one.
I think that season, most of it would have worked, apart from that story, which you can watch a very good review of from Matt on
Why, thank you.
If anyone would like to make any reviews of that, by all means, email me at DaDoctorWhoFan@gmail.com and we can discuss it.
I would say Head would be next for me. because I like the rest more.
Oh, I think McGann would be next. I know you hate this, but I think McGann would be next. Only because I think too much of his era as well would have bogged down his Doctor, because the fact that so much of his era is just ridiculous.
Now, this is why McGann would be next for me, after Head.
I'd go Grant, McGann, Head, Joseph Griffiths.
To be honest, I would switch around McGann and Head, and that might be my list as well.
Mm.
You know, I don't know if I'd prefer Joseph or Griffiths, to be honest.
You wouldn't be able to know without actually watching them, I don't think. And unfortunately, unless you have one of those nifty dimension hopper things that Rose Tyler has, we're not going to be able to find out. But the closest we can get is by writing the scripts up and all that sort of stuff. So if any one of you are willing to do that, email me at DaDoctorWhoFan@gmail.com. There's some people doing it already, so just say which story you'd like to do.
Imagine if I just emailed you and went like, "Hi, I would like to write a script."
Do it. No, I don't know how good you would be at doing it.
Yeah, I mean, what would be the easiest one?
Would the Doctor movies be screened in cinemas outside the UK, like Belgium, where I live? Yeah, it's screen worldwide. It's a massive movie. It'll be everywhere, and they'll be designed to watch standalone. Context is nice. You would enjoy it much more with context, but you can just watch the movie and everything, and that would be explained. And that's why the Doctor regenerate from movie to movie, because you can watch the first movie, the second movie, the third movie in a row and not need to know anything. And that's sort of why I think they killed Lizzie off before having her in the movie, because you're like, who's this random woman? So the Doctor in this, yeah. What do you think of Matt Smith? Matt Smith is my least favourite Doctor. I know a lot of people like him, but I can't get behind his Doctor. He's just like a baby having a tantrum sometimes.
Are you sure you're not confusing him with David Tennant? Oh no, he's a teenager having a tantrum. That's even worse.
I don't. David Tennant's not my second least favourite Doctor. He's like fourth or fifth least favourite. So it's you said you're doing script. What stories you're doing? Well, we've got someone working on Earth Aid. We've got someone working on Return of Nimon. I've done Empty Child, of course.
We tried doing Forest of the Dead, but didn't you lose that?
I did Forest of the Dead. It was fine, brilliant, and then I didn't save it.
Yeah.
Well, I did save it, but not the first draft. I didn't get the second draft, and I put so much work into that second draft.
We were going to do Transit, but then we couldn't be arsed.
Yeah, because lots of that has to change.
Yeah, if someone would like to do Transit,
just beware. Lots of what happens in that would not be broadcastable on the BC. So the Doctor from that universe would be a very different version of that. Will the Valiant return?
Wait and see.
Will there be multi-Doctor stories in the two Doctors? I don't think there'll be anything like that. The closest you get is Inquisition, which isn't actually a multi-Doctor story. It just has two Doctors in it.
The closest you get is the Lazarus Project.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Then it's Inquisition.
Yeah. Plus, I don't like David Tennant's Doctor. He's just, I don't like to. He's not my favourite. He's not my least favourite. I don't mind his Doctor, but sometimes he's really annoying.
The only time I don't mind him is Human Nature.
Is anyone doing the name Shakespeare, William Shakespeare? Yeah, I'm doing that. I started it. I've written like the first part or something, but it's just cutting down other episodes are really difficult to do. And
wouldn't you have to do like Nightshade as well?
Yeah.
Do Nightshade.
Peter Capaldi is one of my favourite Doctors. He's probably my top 5. Just a shame he didn't get the best hand of eras to be the Doctor in.
Same thing with McGann in What If Doctor Who Wasn't Next?
Well, his first 2 seasons are amazing. Apart from a couple of bad stories.
When they hit pretty hard. Sort of like the first 2 seasons of his like Big Finish monthly range stuff. Well, then again, same thing with the rest of his monthly range stuff, actually.
Will Clint Eastwood be in your universe? No. No. I really don't think so.
Have Clint Eastwood as the Rani.
I
That
think
that
Siobhan Redmond is still holding the mantle at the moment. How many seasons will Joseph have? He has 3. Season 46 is last season, as I said in the video.
because then we've got Vengeance.
Then we've got Doctor Who Vengeance, and then we've got the next season. How many other seasons? Then perhaps another movie. And I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
There are plans to have future movies. More questions continue going. Doctor Who Vengeance season 46. Mostly try to stick to that. I don't mind answering questions about other stuff, but that is what this stream's mostly about.
Would Rupert Farley be in future seasons?
I don't. There's no plans to have Rupert Farley and Michael Rooker. Any of these. There's no plans at the moment to have any of these actors in it. Sorry, there's just no plans to.
I just saw that question.
Would Virgin New Adventures stories exist in some other way? Probably. There'll probably be tie novels at the same time released.
I wouldn't say the Virgin New Adventures would exist. I feel like all the
I think some of those
novels would be in the Missing Adventures range. I would say that still exists, but it also incorporates, of course, the Seventh Doctor and then also the Eighth Doctor. But I would say past Doctor novels would be a thing. They wouldn't be as common as the novelizations and the current Doctor novels, though. But I feel like they'd still be a thing, and I'd like to think they're common.
Would all your Doctors also attempt conventions? I think all of them would attend some conventions. I think Anthony Head would probably attend most of them, because the fact that he was already attending them for Buffy, so he can double up, get twice as much money. He'd probably be the biggest headliner there for a lot of them.
He's the headline event, but Tish. This is Anthony Head.
Yes, would trailers be aired at Comic-Con for a new season? Perhaps. I think Comic-Con would have happened a lot earlier for Doctor Who, since it's a joint American production. So I think it would have happened way earlier in 2009 when Doctor Who first started going, and I think that sort of thing would have been happening. Yeah. I have a very strong. Matt Smith is not the next Doctor. I've said this numerous times. No,
like what?
They just wouldn't. I don't think they would have cast him. And also, Doctor's in a very different position. All that sort of. There's this. No, Matt Smith is not the next Doctor. Because if there's a director who is 8, then there's an actor who can be 12. Very good. Very good. That's a mistake on my part. I will change those end credits. There's a few mistakes in there which have to be changed. There's some actors which need to be changed as well. Blinking credits, that sort of stuff. So
yeah, multiple end credits, not just blink.
There's a few over the next few months you might have a few end credits just mysteriously disappearing and new ones replacing it. So don't ever see the canon of this universe as being very fluid and can change. I know Next Doctor's not going to be 12. Will David Morrissey being in timeline may play a character? He's maybe, I don't know. Will Captain Jack be in the universe? No.
See season 44 for that.
What do you think of an episode where Alan Sugar is a main villain, where he uses human form to deceive the Doctor before Alan turns into a giant praying mantis alien?
What?
I don't think they're going to do that.
What?
Just a slight suspicion. I don't think they're going
to
do that.
What happened to Jeff Reeves in your timeline?
Well, he was the master in the 70s, and then he turned into
Anthony
wasn't.
Alien. He was the master in one serial. And we
in 1980,
in 1981.
1981. Well, you know, it was massive for one series and then turned into Anthony Alien. That still happened. That stayed. It just went on. Would Griffiths be more known for playing the Doctor or Uncle Vernon in Harry Potter? I think he would be more known for playing the Doctor.
every actor that's played the Doctor is most well known for playing the Doctor.
Even if they don't like to be, because Eccleston.
Yeah.
But it would have been very well known for being Uncle Vernon, and we still would have been Uncle Vernon. But
Yeah,
I think,
like Ted with Buffy, you know.
yeah. If I were to choose the next Doctor time, I'll go with Olivia Colman or Natalie Dormer. You can go with that. I don't think Gary Wilson and Robert Shane would have chosen them at the time. Are the end credits are the videos supposed to be end credits the last part of the story? I've said this before, yeah. The end credits always the credit for the last part of the story. So there are probably more characters in that story, but that is always the end credits for the last part. That's why the innovations are on there and all that sort of stuff. Would there be a Down syndrome Doctor? I don't think so.
I'd not like to get into that discussion.
I don't think there'd be a Down syndrome Doctor, just because I don't think they would go that way. But there'd probably be Down syndrome actors in other parts of the episodes.
Oh yeah, definitely. No doubt about that. I mean, we've had a deaf actor in an episode in our timeline.
We've had actors Into the Lake
sizes. Dearest Nine was actually really diverse, come to think of it.
Yeah.
In terms of its casting, like you've had like a deaf actor, you've had a transgender actor.
It was also quite diverse in story quality. Yeah, story quality. With some good ones, some alright ones, and some absolutely terrible rubbish.
Yeah, the best one of the best in the show's history and one of the worst in the show's history, right next to each other. So
will there be stuff like Doctor Who Confidential in your own universe? There would be behind the scenes stuff from DVDs. There'd be an abundance of special features going into stuff. There wouldn't be a TV show like Doctor Who Confidential just because I don't think they would have gone with that. Because that really happened because Doctor was coming back. They wanted to have as much sort of stuff there as possible. And, there wouldn't be a TV show Doctor Who Confidential, but there'll probably be a documentary which might probably featurettes on the DVDs. There might be a documentary or two that airs on BBC Two or something, sort of looking back on that season. There might be like making a season 46 documentary airing a couple months after season 46, something like that. And what would be different about the story with Dark Dimension? I'm not exactly sure. There'd be differences, but I really haven't given them much thought, to be honest.
Other than instead of it focusing on the fourth Doctor,
it focused on the third Doctor.
Other than that, and like companions and the Masters in it and other things. Other than that, not much, I wouldn't think.
Will Rory McCann play the next Doctor? No.
I've got a question for you, Ben.
Okay.
Why Tegan?
We've already had this question.
Oh, well, I didn't hear it. I was too busy trying to join.
Well, you know the answer because you helped me decide.
No, you were putting your foot down with Tegan, and I was like,
well,
okay,
there's no other companion it could be. They're not going to do Perry because they don't want to change her fate. She's already dead. They don't want to go into.
They already changed her fate.
Yeah, but they don't even want to go into the discussion which one's true, which one's not. They're not going to do.
Russell might.
They're not going to do Mel because they've already done it. They're not going to do Ace because they've already done it. They're not going to do the dead companions. They've already done Katie. So
left over.
Yeah, so you're pretty much left.
What about Turlo?
With Tegan. Turlo's not popular enough.
Do you really think people like Tegan?
I think she's my favourite of the Davis companions.
Turlo's mine.
But Turlo is horrid. I hate Turlo. I really do.
I love him because he's different.
I really don't like Turlo. Yep. My two favourite 80s companions, thinking of it, would be Tegan and Ace.
Well, Ace is definitely the best 80s companion.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. There's no arguing about that. Chameleon's the worst. Definitely.
I won't even count Chameleon as a companion.
I do, because that's what Wikipedia says.
Will there be a transgender character called Joe who changed his name to Emily?
Why randomly the names Joe and Emily?
There's no plan to have a transgender character called Joe change his name to Emily at the moment.
I mean, no, that's very oddly specific.
Yeah, but there's no plan. Plan B or The Name of Shakespeare, William Shakespeare. Now,
The Name Shakespeare, William Shakespeare would probably be less insufferable to watch.
I think because it would be less boring. Because Plan B would just be like watching paint dry, I think.
So it's basically a Peter Davison story. That isn't the Caves of Anjani or the Five Doctors. Go on, the Five Doctors ain't.
There's other good Davison stories.
I know there's other ones, but those are the ones that came to mind. Oh, okay, Earthshock. Time Flight's not boring.
I quite like The Awakening because it's only 2 parts.
I've not seen I've not seen it because Peter Davison's Doctor is not very appealing. Because he's very boring.
Will the Silurians return? If so, will there be any monsters in the future seasons? Maybe the Silurians will return, but they were only just in Mad World, so just have their latest appearance. Do you think there'll be an episode where the Doctor's fighting against a Nazi I
think that's a YouTuber.
During an alternate World War II, I don't think so. No,
I don't think Caddickers was a thing at that point. He started his channel in like 2011, 2012.
That's completely lost on me, so you have to explain it. I don't get that sort of stuff.
He's a YouTuber that like reviews games.
Right. A
good one. He's very good. He's funny, I guess. But
if you know me, I'm not into games. What parts of the first movie are based on existing material? Mainly just the parts of the Doctors having separate adventures. Some of those adventures are based upon an odd big finish or an odd short story or something like that. So I can't remember in detail now off the top of my head, but those sort of adventures that the Doctors go on to try and track down these sort of time tier spatial anomaly things. I can't remember what they're called. Will there be new title seasons 47? Yes, there are, and I've been working myself trying to get something good. Ask Matt, because I've been, even just today trying to get this right.
Just one bit of the title sequence. Everything's fine. We've refined it, and there's just one bit of it. It just keeps looking ugly no matter what we do. But it looks fine right now, I guess.
Still not too fond of it. Anyway, you'll see the finished result in a few videos' time, because you've got Vengeance, Penultimate 3, and then you've got season 47.
Yeah.
Then you've got the leftover movie, Penultimate 4, and season 48.
Then is it?
We'll leave it there.
Okay. I just realised I know he was about to spoil something. Okay.
Yes, you were. Matt, talk about it, or delete the universal.
It is a video about what if Doctor Who wasn't axed in the year 1989, and what would have happened at around 2011, 2012.
And it would be the latest installment.
It would be the latest installment of this series, and it would be written by probably mostly by Ben. And in fact, the script would definitely be by Ben. Some ideas might come from me. As usual.
What would cause the BBC not to axe Doctor Who in 1989? Well, I'm not sure. I think it would have just
Michael Graves was assassinated.
No, I think it would be just what about I just decided just to give it another year and see how it goes. Give it another year with a new producer.
Because give it another year after that, because they've got a new Doctor. And then it became Doctor, then they're like, oh well, we're getting money again.
Yeah. But I think there would have been very much chance it could have gone on to BBC Two. I haven't really explored that. For all I know, season 27 might have been on BBC Two, might have been on BBC One. I haven't really thought about that. So to actually say something definite, I haven't said anything on that.
BBC One at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely on BBC One from
like
at least season 29 onwards. Definitely.
Yeah.
No, there's not a USA version of the Doctor. Do you like the Doctor? Yes, I do. He's one of my favourite Doctors, probably in the top 5 as well. I know a lot of them are appearing in the top 5.
He's in my top 4.
I don't exactly know where it will be.
I don't know where the 7th Doctor would be, because it always changes. Even my favourite might change.
I do. Well, my favourite always stays the same. It's stayed the same for years.
Yeah, yes. He's up there as well for me.
But all the others, my favorite and least favorite stay the same, and all the others change all the time.
Like mine, mine changes drastically, but in chunks. The chunks, whoever's in the chunks, they stay the same. But like it always changes drastically within those chunks. You know, it's weird.
Between season 27-43, what the vortex look like in the universe? Well,
43
I
isn't
don't.
that in the title sequence?
Yeah. I don't think, for the most part, there would have been much visual representation of the vortex, because in Classic there really wasn't that much.
Yeah.
I don't think the first visual representation of the vortex would really come in
until like the movie, really.
season 41, the movie. The movie might have had a vortex in it.
The opening shot was in the vortex.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, the TARDIS was in the vortex, and then.
Oh yes, it is. Yes, it is.
See,
so I decided that. So yeah, the first appearance of the vortex in the Watch Dogs Acts timeline would be in the opening of the movie,
as like a reference to the Doctor Who title sequences.
Yes.
With Tom Baker's.
Actually,
no, just a reference to that, and it would probably be designed around that. It would probably look like that.
What things would you change about your timeline that you said? Well, I've already said the main headlines that change. Yeah, I'd probably make the Griffiths titles look worse.
Yeah, they probably would.
They do sort of look too good. But I think all the other title sequence fit the year. Maybe the head titles look not good enough.
Yeah. What I would do is change some of the music for the title sequences.
I wouldn't. No, don't even get him in. Don't even get him into this. He's changed music on them and has completely butchered title sequences.
I've not butchered them. I've improved them.
He hasn't.
I have. I've used more accurate music.
No.
I have.
I would have season 27 still have the Kef theme, and season 28 would probably have the later theme right from there. So I'd probably get rid of the Jean-Michel Jarre theme completely, even though I quite like it. Just I don't think they would actually gone with that. I would make a better image of the Richard Griffiths Doctor.
You'd possibly more of them if you were to make.
Yeah, because there's literally one image of him that appears everywhere, which is very inaccurate.
There's a second image now.
There's about 3 images, I think, we have floating around of his Doctor in costume.
3 images. And then one clip.
Yeah, a clip.
3 images and a clip. So.
And that clip was very difficult going and masking stuff off and changing the colour of his jumper and all that sort of stuff.
It really
would
did.
K9 return? Yeah, K9's in yeah, and season 41 to 43.
I think they also explain K9's absence in Leftover, because K9's not a central character. They
well, the absence definitely explained that K9 broke down before the events at Leftover.
Like an altered K9 prop might appear in the odd episode, but John Leeson wouldn't come back, nor David Brierley to voice K9, or anyone else for that matter.
I had nightmares about that image of Griffiths. Is that because it's everywhere? Because it does look quite, his face as well, just it's everywhere. Sort of, you close your eyes, you can see that image disappearing of Griffiths.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yes, and I can just see him holding his lapel and sort of being like.
Do you get criticism for your reviews?
Reviews?
Yeah, your reviews.
What reviews?
Exactly. The I Davros review.
I guess what you mean perhaps is these videos. Yeah, I have got a fair bit of criticism, people who don't exactly agree with what I've done, which is fine.
Included.
But
most
people have their own opinion.
Solid. There's some things.
What do you think of James McKenzie from Raven as the Doctor? He doesn't seem to mind now. There's no plans for him to be the Doctor.
More as a companion, personally.
He could guest role, but I don't see him as the Doctor, to be perfectly honest.
Well, to be honest, companion at most for me. I don't see him as the Doctor, but I did actually think one time maybe have James Mackenzie as like a guest character.
Perhaps a guest character, but I really doubt
I mean,
he'd be
that's
the Doctor.
Carlson, so
I wouldn't cast him as a companion either, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, you're casting Redacted. Make of that what you will. Anyone who listened to... Let's just move on.
Yes, move on.
Yeah. So that awkward silence was killing me.
Yes, well...
Could Mark Strong be a good master? I
Um,
guess that's a strong choice.
I don't know. Perhaps there's no plans for him to be.
There isn't any. Plans can change, but there's no plans at the
There's
moment.
no plans at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Any more questions going? We have been going for how long now?
About an
Just
hour.
over an hour, yes.
These usually go on for like an hour and a half, right?
Yeah. So, any more questions? Will the 2003 logo be a run to at least 2017? I must admit, it's growing on me. You have to wait and see. It's definitely... It was brought in 2003 to be a logo which could be universal and used as a brand logo and be the definitive the Doctor Who logo, not to have any sort of bits that would make it unusable for certain branding, like the season 35 to 40 logo is hard to fit on everything, as I would know doing those thumbnails. So that's why I had to take off the wings. Yeah. What's about Dick and Dom as companions? Are you being serious? Yeah.
Can Johnny Depp be Doctor Who? Maybe Peter Cushing's second incarnation can be Doctor
Depp. No.
Can
Michael Jackson, the Doctor? Well, we're running out of time because he
sort of died.
Yeah, but in 2009 now, when he's sort of dead. Does the series go into recovery mode like the McCoy era or the current era? I think occasionally it would go into that sort of, oh, we're probably close, is failing bits in Sandeman were probably... I think the movie very much saved the day.
Yeah.
Will there be a Down syndrome companion called Jess? We have no plans for a Down syndrome companion called Jess at the moment. No Americans. Well, the Americans perhaps saved Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Would there be a tribute to Elizabeth Sladen in the series? Well, don't be a tribute in an episode or anything, but there'll be a dedication at the start of an episode, definitely, because we had one in this time, and we definitely had one there. Would John Sim play the Master in your time? And there's no plans for John Sim to be the Master. No Americans as a Doctor. No, I don't think they'll go with American Doctor. Just because the fact that there was always the idea that there would be
British.
Yeah.
Basically. But I mean, then again, they could change up the formula a bit, but I mean,
I think they would stick with the Doctor being British.
Yeah.
I think the Doctor is fundamentally a British character. I think that's a charm of it. It's like Torchwood and Miracle Day. It doesn't work because it's fun. The charm of the show is that it's a Welsh show.
I mean, Miracle Day is good. It's just not Torchwood, really.
Yeah, and that's not. And I think it's the same thing there.
Work on it
because taking Doctor out of sort of being this British character and turning him into American takes all of that charm. There you go.
To be honest, they won't do well. Yeah, Dick and Dom. How
Yeah,
about Diddy Dick and Dom as companions?
I really don't think that would happen.
Definitely not. Maybe as like something like comic relief,
No, I still don't think they would do that.
like a non-canon comic relief.
I still don't think they would do that.
What would the first stories of Doctors 8 to 12 in Doctor Who magazine be in your head?
Um,
Like, are you thinking of like the first comic strips?
I don't know
I
because I
think
don't
the
know
comic
anything about
strips
comics.
would largely stay the same, but just with the era-specific Doctor. And there would be a few alterations here and there, like during the time when like the Wilderness years, and they realized, oh wait, the Virgin New Adventures aren't happening soon, so we're going to have different Doctors each story. And then the GAN
Well,
happened, so
can there be movies from for Doctors 1 to 9 in this universe? I don't think they would go and make movies for Doctors which have already been that they'll be appearing in the anniversaries.
yeah, like
But
Doctor in the movie.
yeah, but I don't think they would have their own movies because, well, the first three are dead. The others wouldn't probably be able to hold their own movie, and there have been so many Doctor Who movies, it would be hard to keep track. Will there be a
Yeah.
Doctor with an Irish accent? There's no plans to have an Irish Doctor at the moment, but stuff can change in the future. I don't know, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Pierce Brosnan. Sorry, I'm just imagining Pierce Brosnan as the Doctor. That would be a bit odd.
I don't think they would go with Pierce Brosnan as the Doctor, to be perfectly honest.
Mm. Will the fifth Doctor be in the 50th anniversary? They might rope Peter Davison in. They might. We don't know. Yeah,
Well, we do know, but we're not going to tell you.
exactly. So Peter Davison might be in the 50th anniversary. You've got to keep your eyes peeled.
No, Pierce is Bond. Well, not anymore.
Exactly. Daniel Craig has been Bond for over a decade now, so.
But it's definitely not going to be the Doctor. I can confirm that right now. Will there be an episode similar to Hitchcock's The Birds? There were no plans to have an episode similar to Hitchcock's The Birds. There could be. It'd be interesting to do, but there are no plans to do that. I think that's just going to be the main thing I'm saying this stream. There's no plans to do that. Any other questions? When will Panopticon be on YouTube? Do you mean Panopticon Series 3? It will be the video after Vengeance. So
a few months.
Yeah. Hopefully Vengeance is out. Hopefully Vengeance is out at the end of this month. So hopefully mid-July, Panopticon 3 will come out. Where'd you get the thing about Ghostlight in the Last Intended Season 26 story from?
I mean, it was the last story produced.
Yeah, and I think in one of the documentaries, something they said that Survival was changed to the last because they got a bit more fitting end to the series. I don't know how true it was, but I decided to make Ghostlight the last story of Season 27.
It makes sense.
Story.
It's
yeah. Season 26, not Season 27. Season 27 is Blood and Iron. Yeah.
So, did everyone like the season?
Season
46.
Season
Did everyone
46.
like it? Because from the comments I saw, people seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty strong season.
I think it's the strongest like Gary Russell era season so far, for obvious reasons.
I think the weakest of them would probably be season 45, but I think that's still really strong.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say season 45 Yeah, it's more the later half of season
Yeah.
45 that I find would be weaker.
I think probably since 45 is a lot of people would have just been so bored of historical stories by that point because of the fact they've just had pretty much all of them are historical stories. And I think a lot of people would just be, right, yes, okay, we just had the Romans, now we're having this.
Yeah, that's the thing with it's not like with Heart and Away had a historical story, then sci-fi, then historical and sci-fi. It was
Yeah.
like historical.
And that was
Now we're
important
in sci-fi.
of the way of the season, but I think a few people have been tied out by it. What's the best format for a What's Doctor next season? Number of episodes, episode length. My favourite format is 8 90-minute episodes from 41 to 44. That's my favourite format.
My favorite format was actually 8 full-part serials because that means you got like over half a year's worth of Doctor Who, and yeah, say stories. It's good, but the problem is it's
Same.
Sandeman.
Yeah, all
Well,
of those are Sandeman.
some of it
Well,
was
you have 2 seasons of Garwood doing that, and
yeah.
then be an episode similar to Shaun of the Dead. No, there's no plans for that.
Although
It's Doctor Who a co-production with CBS Temporary or Paramount or Permanent? It's CBS pretty much permanent because what happened was Paramount
bought the rights. Paramount
no. What happened? Paramount is owned by
franchise.
Viacom. CBS was owned by Viacom as well, but Viacom split, and all the television rights from all of that went to CBS in our universe as well.
Yeah.
And all the film rights went to Paramount. So Paramount do all the films, CBS do all television. It was once owned by one big company. So Doctor Who is co-produced with CBS from 2006 onwards because that's when the split happened. But they went under the name CBS Paramount for a year to try and keep that same sort of brand, and then they just switched to Paramount. Then they just switched to CBS. I mean, after that.
And it's not like with Star Trek where you can't have crossroads between the film's continuity and the
because you have the BBC there being the
because the BBC also own it, so it's a good way around that, and that's
so the
nothing's
BBC
really changed. It's just CBS are distributing it. Everything else is fine.
CBS
Got the
is where the
same
money's
team.
coming from. There'll probably be other people behind the scenes, sort of from CBS, but it's nothing really changes. There'll be sort of studio politics and stuff, which should be different and probably promoted a different way. What do you think of a game based on season 29? I've not thought about that at all. In a Doctor in America documentary, he said that the marathons would air 4 episodes every Wednesday. How would this work if not every episode is 4 parts? Now, I've already laid this out in some comment somewhere. You have to troll back on some video and you'll find it. But they played just 4 episodes. So some would be about 1 episode of a story one night, and then the next night you get the next 3 episodes of that story. Depends how it all falls. And I've put the dates, I think.
So basically, Planet of Giants ruined everything.
So I pretty much put the dates somewhere and everything where the ones to do, and you can find that somewhere. Just search through. Someone asked me, and I put that in a comment. Search it. I can't remember every single date offhand and how they all fell, but I have worked it out. Also, in the season 33, he said there would be 2 4-part stories and 2 6-part stories, but in the American documentary to be 25-minute episodes. So is it 30 minutes or 25 minutes? From
25 was the generalization, I think. That's what I took from the video.
I can't even remember because I haven't rewatched it or anything because I don't like rewatching the early ones because I don't like them. So Matt,
this is why the book idea is good. Thing is, I've not rewatched it in a while, but basically, what I get from the video is it's just you just split it into like the original parts. You keep it intact, but you said that they don't edit the videos. They're not allowed to, or not videos, episodes. They're not allowed to edit the episodes down. You have to play it as broadcast. With the only exception being the Dark Dimension. which was split into 4 parts because it hadn't been airing like Hoovies for years. So that's the only thing I can really comment on with that. I'm wanting to make a documentary based on the Daleks, but I don't want to do it yet.
Will Varney take more of a main role than the Rogue? I don't think so.
I think they're more, well, not necessarily equal, but similar.
Yeah, there are more plans to do more stuff with Varney, but not to Series 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think they'll take over the Rogue.
At the moment, the Rogue is more because he's like the main character in a show. The Rani is one of the most important characters in that show, but not as important as the Rogue. So, yeah.
What would lead to the Dark Dimension being made in this timeline? Well, they wanted a 30th anniversary special, and that's an idea they had. The Dark Dimension is just what really fit the time. I don't know if I'll do something different nowadays, but yeah, they needed an anniversary story because of course we're going to do an anniversary.
Works.
Yeah. So, any more questions? We are getting to about an hour and a half for doing this now. So, we are wanting to wrap up pretty soon. So, get the last few questions in, and then we'll wrap up.
So, Ben, what would you say your favorite story from, or your favorite few stories from 46 are?
46, well...
in terms of the concept. I mean, Mad World would probably be the best one.
Mad World, The Facade, Delayed Indefinitely. Stick to those three because there's other stuff I like as well, but I think those are my favourites. Cannon Fodder would have been good as well, I think. I just think it would have been overlooked because it's the first of the season.
And there wasn't really much to it. Enough that you can make a 90-minute episode. But but it was simplistic enough that basically character interactions were the things that filled it up, and I wouldn't think any filler would be there, but
it's Revenge of the Master. Basically, the TV movie are very different. It's the same basic plot as the TV movie, but everything else is different.
Except set in Sydney.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Said Earthfade may not have been made. What would have led them to make it anyway? There would have been some reason. I can't think of. Yeah, Ben Aronovich was writing it. He became script editor. That's why he did it.
He convinced Andrew Cartmel to, because Andrew Cartmel commissioned the stories, didn't he? Beforehand.
And like what happened with Terrence Dicks, basically commissioning stories for season 12. So, Earthage, yep. I think this season 27, you just have to go off the information you've got because you've got the stories that we're going to do. You've got ideas that you've got to change. Would they actually done this? Would they done this? You've got loads of different stuff they could have done. And I just tried to put all that stuff together and try and make the most likely scenario what would have happened. But of course, the bits that people do differently because it's all subject to change. What advice would you give Chibnall for the new series?
Well, can't really change what he's done now.
Yeah.
But what advice would we have given him?
Well, Chibnall for the new series, I'll give him the advice right now that I would say make it popularist, make it the sort of RTD type, let's go on an adventure, just adventure of the week, perhaps little recurring sort of plot. Also try and give every companion something to do. Split the Doctor from her companions up, and have them all go off, perhaps in groups, because you've got all these companions. So that have multiple plots going on, give proper depth to it, and just make it fun. Make it fun. Doctor Who that you won't be turned away like a lot of viewers were with Series 6 and haven't returned since.
Do you know what advice I would give him?
What?
Do your own thing. That's all I would say. Do your own thing, but just look at the past and see what went wrong. Try not to go there, but other than that, do your own thing.
Why did Ronald D. Moore write King of Centaurs instead of the original writer? Because he was one of the writers of the time.
And John Dorney wasn't.
Yep. Pretty much. He'd written a successful story the previous season and was invited back.
Yeah. And King of the Centaurs, that's just a story pitch. It probably would have been a bit different from the actual audio that John Dorney wrote, but it although it had the same characters, it was probably different. There's just timelines can sync up like that sometimes, oddly enough.
Why is Johnny Vegas playing the 13th Doctor? Johnny Vegas is not playing the 13th Doctor. I can already tell you that right now.
He's not?
No.
I
don't know where you've heard that he's playing the 13th Doctor, but that's a load of rubbish.
Everyone knows it's going to be Alexander Siddig.
No. He's Lieutenant Fathel.
Oh.
Yes. The 13th Doctor, we have cast the 13th Doctor.
Yes.
So, it took a while to persuade Matt on the casting, but now he thinks it's really good.
It's not even persuading. You had your foot down, and then I had time to think about it, and I'm like, actually, this works incredibly well.
Yes. Which season in the series do you think is overdone? What do you mean by overdone?
Yeah.
We're not telling you who the 13th Doctor is, but it will be revealed at the end of the Doctor Who Vengeance video.
Yeah.
Like Anthony Head and Patterson Joseph were.
You will be hyped. Well, then again, Paul McGann was announced at the end of 32. Rich Griffiths was announced at the end of 27.
Well, that's when I announced it, but I think in that time I would have announced it, there would have been a press release. But all the movies, they put them right there at the end as a surprise, but it would have been ruined for a lot of people who didn't get, because it would have been all over the internet as soon as the first person had seen that film, unless they was a proper, sort of thing they did with the Avengers with, keep secret, that whole spoiler thing they did, and people would have kept the spoiler. Hopefully people would have. But I think, it would have all been over radio time and stuff. So-and-so is the next Doctor.
See, Colin Baker, the 13th Doctor.
No.
I don't know who this Colin Baker is.
Which season is most over the top and chaotic? Over the top. One of the Sandeman seasons, I think.
Season 24.
Oh yeah, but this goes staying what the Doctor wasn't axed.
I don't care. Season 24 transcends that.
It stayed 27 to 46, shall we?
But it transcends that.
Yeah. Well, second. It'll be one of the Sandeman seasons.
17.
Okay, let's just shut him up.
I know.
Will Moffat and Gatiss work on Who again? Maybe. We don't have any plans in the work for them to.
At all.
But they might. There's more of a chance of Mark Gatiss doing it than Moffat, because Moffat's already been script editor.
And to be honest, if Moffat did it, he'd probably do it with Gatiss, let's face it.
Yeah.
Only if he did it, though.
Any more? Or are we going to wrap this up now? We're going for about an hour and a half, aren't we? A bit more, aren't we?
Henry Cavill as the next Doctor. I mean, Henry Cavill could be in it. But I don't think he'll be the Doctor.
No. All right, let's wrap this up now. Hope
Will be a fat, annoying woman called Jane who fancies. That's just
right. So thank you for watching. Hope you learn a bit about this. Until Doctor Who Vengeance video, then, which should be out the end of next month, hopefully.
End of
Goodbye.
next month.
How about this month? Goodbye.
Goodbye, all.